Today we will be showing you how to create a Google Earth tour for our year-end project. I've got Google Earth open, so that's the first thing you need to do is make sure Google Earth is open. And then once you are in there, the first thing you're going to do is go to add a folder. And this folder is going to be titled your first and last name and the word tour. So for example, I might go Lily McCormick tour. And for this one, the description does not matter. I'm just going to put Lily is normal. She is not at all crazy, which we all know to be 100% true. So I'm going to click OK, and my folder shows up here under my places. This folder is the place where you're going to house all the locations that you want to travel to on your tour to kind of wrap up this year. So in order to do this, I'm going to do an example that's going to show just some random locations that may or may not be places we've studied this year. Obviously yours will need to be places we have studied throughout the year. So the first place I'm going to show on my tour is going to be Newcastle, Indiana. I'm going to go to Newcastle, Indiana, and when I click search, you can see Google Earth zooming in. As it zooms into Newcastle, you'll start to see things a little more clearly. You'll have the ability to navigate, zoom in farther if you want, zoom out, whatever you choose to do. Once it's ready, if I want to create this as my first stop on my tour, I'll go up here to where this push pin is and I will click Add Place Mark. Once it's there, I'm going to title this. So I'm going to call it Newcastle, Indiana. And then down here I'll put a description. For the sake of time, I will just put Newcastle is awesome. Obviously in your description you're going to want to put an explanation of why you've chosen this as a stop on the tour. Explain it fully, 2 or 3 sentences. So along with a description of each stop, you're also going to add an image. And the image that you add can be anyone, but it's going to look specifically for the image URL. Now, how do you get that? Well, I'm going to go up here to the internet, simply to Google, and I'm going to Google search an image that I want. Newcastle happens to be home to the greatest donut shop in the world, Jack's Donuts. I'm going to click on Images, and oh, look at all these happy people getting Jack's Donuts. Right here, to me, it looks like a great example of, oh no, this is even better. So I'm going to left click on this, just shelves after shelves of donuts. And if this is the image I want to choose, I open it, and then I'm going to right click on the image, and this is important. You have to go to Copy Image Location. So I'm going to left click there, and then go back to my Google Earth tour. In the image URL, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to click Paste. Now there are 2 different OKs here. It's really critical that you click on this top one, and after you do so, it's going to embed this image into your description box down here. So I've got my description, I've got my image, I've got my name of the place mark, and then I'm going to click OK. What this will do is it'll allow people to see all those things when they click on the Newcastle, Indiana pin. Okay, there's my picture as well as my description. So there's my first location. Let's say I want to go to a second location. I want to go to Cape Town, South Africa. And I'm going to click on search, and when I do, Google Earth will fly me wherever I need to go. In this case, to get to Cape Town, South Africa. Now with this one I want to do something a little different. I want to zoom in a little farther, and wherever you zoom in, that's the spot that Google Earth will zoom in on your tour. Maybe it'll be far away, maybe it'll be closer up. In this case, I want to get really close up. I want to get so close up that people are able to see Cape Town, South Africa is not that much different than places in the United States. So I'm about this close. I want to, in fact, take this guy. You may or may not know this, but you can just drag him down here, any spot you want, and you create a street level image. Okay, you can see it looks similar to places here in the United States. So I want this to be my next pin. So I'm going to go up here, add place mark again, call this Cape Town, South Africa. Remember, your description needs to be a good explanation. Mine, for the sake of time, is just going to be here it is. You might describe something about apartheid in South Africa being the richest African nation, Nelson Mandela, whatever. I'm going to click Add Image, and then again I will do just a Google search Let's say I want to search for something having to do with apartheid. So I'll go to images, and you see all kinds of apartheid options. For me, I want to use this one to emphasize that there were separate locations even for restrooms for whites and blacks. So right click on it, copy image location, and again I will go back to Google Earth and paste that in. Remember, which OK you type makes a difference. Here's one other little thing that you can play with. If you click on this push pin, you can get different ones to put in there. I'm going to go with just a different color. But you can sort of customize those a little bit. Now I click OK. My second location is there. You'll notice that both of them are underneath this Lily McCormick Tour folder. That's important. That's right what we want. Okay. You'll also notice down here under layers, I've taken a lot of these off. If you put too many, it just bogs down the picture. I've left a couple and that's it. So make sure you really don't have too much going on down there. Now, if you're with your tour, you will create 10 different locations. I'm just going to stop at 2 because I want to show you how you will finish this. Once everything is in there that you want, if you go down here to this button, it plays your tour. And it'll walk through your entire tour start to finish. For mine, starting with Newcastle, Indiana. Throughout this, I could click on that pin and see a description picture. It'll pause there a second, let people soak in all that Newcastle, Indiana has to offer. And then here shortly it will shift and go to the second stop on the tour, which is Cape Town, South Africa. With yours, it'll do that for all 10 locations. Now, I'm going to stop this because I want to show the other thing that we want to add to this tour. I'm actually going to click this to go to the beginning of the tour, but I'm going to pause it right at the beginning. Because the other thing, oops, excuse me, I messed up there. The other thing we want to add is we want to add some voice where we are describing this. I don't want people to have to continually click on your descriptions in order to see what you're talking about or why you chose that location. And so what we're going to do is click on this and it brings up options of recording your voice. Now this is obviously a symbol for a microphone. As soon as you click on that, it will start recording your voice. So be very, very careful. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click and then I'm going to start my tour and I'll explain it. You also have the option within your tour of if you need more time to explain, you can go up to Tools and Options and you'll see in your tour tab that you can change the amount of time it stops at each location. So I'm going to click Record. This is my tour. Explaining different things we have covered this year. The first stop on my tour is Newcastle, Indiana. Newcastle, Indiana is home of Steve Alford, one of the greatest basketball players in Indiana history. More importantly, it's home of Jack's Donuts, home of some of the greatest, home of the greatest donuts on the planet. My second stop on my tour is Cape Town, South Africa. Cape Town is the capital city of South Africa, Africa's richest nation. South Africa has a history of apartheid, which is their name for racial discrimination. When I click on the record button, it stops my voice as well as the tour. Now it will automatically play through your tour. So I would play, this is my tour, explaining different things we have covered this year, and it's all there. Once that is all recorded, and it is correct and it is how you want it, you will click right here where it says save. Now, it is difficult to go through and edit your talk, so be sure your tour is as good as you can get it the first time through. If it's not perfect, it's okay. But we'll click this button in order to save it, and this is where these things really do matter. So I'm going to call this Lily McCormick Tour, and here I would put an explanation saying this is my tour of all the parts, all the things we have covered this year, places in Africa, Asia, Australia, the Middle East, whatever. Explain the reason for this tour. I'm going to just put the word reason for the sake of time. Now you will see a new location has just shown up, and it says Lily McCormick Tour and it has this symbol beside it. That's perfect. You then have the option to right click, save place as, and call it Lily McCormick Tour. I would just save it to your desktop, and then from there you'll be able to post it in My Big Campus. I've already done this as an example, so it won't allow me to do it, but on yours it will. And that is how you create a Google Earth tour. Should be awesome.